By applying this one technique, you'll entirely change your paddleboard experience. You'll go from wasting so much energy to paddling twice as powerful and twice as efficient. So let's learn about why this technique is so important and how you can apply it to your paddle. Let's get started. So many people like myself, when I first started stand-up paddleboarding, make the unfortunate mistake of not focusing on completely burying their blade vertically in the water and catching that water properly as they start the power phase of their paddle stroke. This improper use of the catch phase leads to so much wasted energy as you paddle along, as you're not making full use of the full paddle blade itself. Along with this, another sign that you're making an improper catch phase is if you have a lot of splash with every single paddle stroke that you're making as well. This splash indicates that your blade is not fully buried in the water, because when your blade is fully submerged, you'll actually have little to no splash in the water as you start your power phase after your catch. So by now you're probably asking yourself, well, how do I fix this problem with my catch phase then? Well, I'm glad you asked. So to start things off, you're going to focus on completely burying your paddle blade vertically in the water as you start that catch phase, before you start to pull yourself to that paddle blade at all. Now there is some technique to this as well as you bury your blade in the water, as your paddleboard is actually moving through the water as you paddle along. So you simply can't just stab your blade in the water, because you actually cause yourself to slow down and stop by stabbing in the water before you start to pull yourself to the paddle blade. So rather, as you go to bury your paddle blade, you're actually moving with the speed of the water as you bury the blade in the water and start to pull yourself to the paddle blade. So it's a very fluid motion as you're paddling along, as you're moving with the speed of the water, as you bring your blade all the way down, burying it completely with the water, and then pulling yourself with your core muscles to that paddle blade. And the next thing, reaching forward, bring your paddle down to bury it in the water with the speed of the water, grabbing that water, catching it, and then pulling yourself to the paddle blade once again. When you're doing this catch phase properly, there should be little to no splash. So if you're paddling along, you're still noticing a lot of splash or a lot of swirls in the water, you need to focus on burying your blade more fully in the water before you start to pull yourself to that paddle blade. Now this is not something you're going to master in one paddle session. That's why it's so important to start today and every single paddle session after this to put time and focus on this catch phase of your paddle stroke. Because by putting this effort into it, you're going to have twice as efficient of a paddle, and you're going to have twice as powerful as a paddle stroke as well. Now it's also very important as you're applying these tips to make sure you're using a quality paddle, as lower grade paddles have a horrible flex to them, and their blades are also poorly designed, as they cause you to actually slip side to side and not grab the water very efficiently through this catch phase of the paddle stroke. That's why, for example, I use paddle designed by a company called Black Project Sup, and I'm currently using their lava paddle for my everyday paddle. Their paddles are professionally designed to capture that water super well on the paddle blade, so you can focus more on your paddle form and have to worry about less about grabbing that water with the paddle blade. So get out there, put these tips into practice. Let me know how it goes in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Hasta luego, amigos.